Good evening, everyone. With the magic and power of live streaming video, tonight connected with a Hungarian ICO founder who's going to talk to us about TE food. And the live stream seems to be working fine. I just heard myself speak back to me, which is perfect. And couple of seconds for people to join and be able to settle down with the teas and coffees. Márton, how are you feeling tonight?
Thank you, Jason. I'm a bit exhausted. It's 10 o'clock now. I'm in Hungary, in Budapest, but I'm happy that we can talk. Also, I wanted to tell that you know that our company TE Food is not a startup in the original way of startup or the usual way, because it's a project done by two companies, and the Hungarian company called Erba is 21 years old, and so I'm just exhausted because originally when we started this project and learned this whole ICO campaigns thing, we expected that being an existing company will be an advantage and also a burden. Because an advantage because we don't have to prove that we know what we do or that we are legit company, and a burden because we don't have I don't know, 12 hours a day focusing on the ICO, because we have work to do. We have a live operation, and we have to work with the daily problems of the business. And but it's interesting that until now we only experienced the burden part, because so I experienced that the distrust is so big in this whole ICO scene that each day we receive questions that can you prove that this and that companies are your clients, and can you prove that you are a real person, and can you prove that this you have this GS1 as a partner, and so on. But from the other side, we are in the food business as a food IT company. So our original purpose, food traceability, is also about the distrust in the food industry. So it's not new for us, but it's kind of funny that we want to mitigate the distrust in the food company, and so we go to turn to blockchain and this ICO thing, and we see that there is similar big distrust in this business.
All right, so let's start from the beginning. We've already sort of jumped into the whole distrust and trust, which is amazing. It's fine. It's fine. It's nice and natural, organic development of the conversation. But tell us, to start off with, right, what is the purpose, what is the mission, and who are you, right? Who are you?
Okay, thank you. So the name of the company, I will spell it TE Food. I know that in English it's TE Food, but it was it was not a lucky name choice, but when we started with this ICO, we thought that maybe we should change, because in the world of Ethereums and Gnosis and some such cool names, who will notice TE food? But you know, as an existing company, all our media coverage, all our products are with this TE food name, so we stuck with it. So so I will call it TE food. So TE food is a joint project from a Hungarian company and a Vietnamese company. It's a food traceability system which is focusing on emerging markets, but it's called farm to table or farm to fork traceability. That means that we are not creating traceability within a company's operation, a slaughterhouse or a food producer, but we start the operation at the farm level, and we continue the livestock through the slaughtering to the food production until the wholesale and the retail. And we provide a complete insight for the customers or the consumers at the end of the line to the whole life cycle of that food product they bought. So they can have a transparent insight about the feeding, the origins, the vaccination, the antibiotics used, the veterinary controls, and the results of these controls through the whole life cycle of the animal and the food product. So it's in this case it's a real world application, because it combines tools which are in the real world. I mean, these are plastic security seals which are put on the animals, and these are paper-based label stickers which are put on the food products. So these QR code-based identification tools are the bridge between the physical world and the digital, and these are the identifications which appear to the users. The system TFood is unique in the way that it combines all participants. Most traceability systems are focusing on B2B use for supply chain companies, some of them on the consumer use. The TFood is combining the supply chain part. It provides a mobile app which the supply chain companies can log in with the mobile app. It's since we are focusing on emerging countries, it's optimized for low-end phones, and they can see custom screens for each role in the process. So there are different functions for a farm than for a slaughterhouse or a veterinary or a wholesale market or a retailer, and the application is also custom regarding the animal type or food type. It's there is a difficult or different process for pigs and different process for chickens or eggs and so on. So
so let's talk about the, we'll follow the process of, the purpose of the company. So my understanding from what you just described is the purpose is to track produce from the farm all the way down to, you use the word fork, but in blockchain we often say like, oh, don't do the forks, but from farm to mouth, okay, till people eat.
Yeah.
And so so that's like a big use case, which is pretty understandable and like root level. I hope you don't mind if I eat as well, because I've literally like got to the house. And I think it fits this particular conversation because we're talking about food. But so the purpose is clear. The next question is around people, right? So who are the users of your system of T-Food, and in both in terms of customers and like, some of the kind of your capabilities internally in terms of your people to build this, because this sounds like a very complicated and lots of moving parts type of system. And Anton who talks about Antonopoulos, I always forget his name, Anton Antonopoulos, who talks about blockchain all the time, talks about how blockchain isn't necessarily going to be able to solve these problems where people are able to tamper with food, and put like ice cubes on thermometers, for example, to cool it down. But it sounds like you're heading down the route of a more sophisticated system. But talk to us about people, the target customers, and your internal team. Who are the kind of of your team who are building this?
So there are three leaders of the company. Eric Araksalashi, my partner in Hungary, we worked together for 21 years. We have two companies together. Both companies are business-to-business IT companies. We employ 25 people, and we for 21 years we developed different type of IT applications, mostly software, but some hardware development projects as well. And our Vietnamese partner, Chung Dao Ha, formerly he lived in Hungary. We know him in the 90s. When he lived here, he went back. He's a businessman and salesman, and he's the High Tech Association of Ho Chi Minh City's president, and he has different businesses, mostly in industrial fields in Vietnam. We collected for the project. We collected some people which are more experienced in the food industry than we are. These are veterinaries, and one lady called Katalin Bereckai. She's the vegetables and fruits part, and arable crops part professional, and Dr. Gabor Pajor is he's a food industry expert regarding animals. He's a special man because he's a veterinary, but also has an IT degree, so he can combine these two fields together, which is very which comes handy many times. So basically, these are the core of the team. We have project managers, we have IT guys. On our website there are we listed those people of the company who worked in the project, even the system admins and so on. But these are the core of the team.
And so the target audience, the users of this system, is it a B2B application or a B2C application, business to customer application? Tell us a little bit about who is supposed to use this.
Yeah, so before we started, I just talked about it, that we combine the B2B, the business to government, and the business to customer side into the system. What does it mean? It means that the tracing part is done by the B2B application. It's done between companies. The business to government part is that we think that to make a really usable system or a useful system, it needs to be wide scale. So if there is only one slaughterhouse or one food producer implements such a system, it's just one link in the whole chain. So it's not enough. The complete chain on a regional or national level has to be integrated to such system. And as for now, only governments have the regulational power to do that, and that's why we were working together with the Ho Chi Minh City government to work out the regulation, the enforcement, the penalization of such how such a system can work, and they have the possibility to set up authority checkings in this food supply chain process, which are done by can be done by police or market control or veterinaries, and we also combined the consumers into the system. So there is a different or a separate mobile app which can be downloaded by consumers. They go to a store and they read the QR code of a food product which has a T-food label on it, and they got the whole history of that animal. They also got information of the state of freshness and about the animal feeding and vaccination and so on. What is still important regarding governments is that the system also provides a lot of safety controls. In the emerging countries, there are several food frauds in this industry. So we during this more than 1 year of live operation of the system, we faced about 5 different police investigations regarding different food frauds. Just one example, there are several times when they, for example, agents sell pigs to a slaughterhouse. The pigs has to be rested before slaughtering, otherwise they will be nervous, and because of the transport and their meat will be not so good quality. So they have to rest. But there are certain suppliers which don't want to wait so long. So they stop the truck, and before after entering the slaughterhouse, they inject sedatives to the pigs, so their meat will be more better because of they are rest or they are calm. So, but it's in the during the night, and when in the morning that pig will enter the markets as a pork, that sedative is still in there. So and when they consume it, so it's a bad thing, and so we had to build in notifications or alerts for such things, several small things, right? Like we know when the truck left the farm, and we know when it entered to the slaughterhouse. We know the distance. We can calculate how much time does it take usually. If it's longer, for I don't know, 1 hour longer, then it's a suspicious thing, which can be when these transports arrive to the slaughterhouse. They are always checked by a veterinary. So the veterinary, when he uses his mobile phone to approve the transport, the T-Food mobile phone, he gets an alert that this trip was longer than usual. So he might check the animals, take a sample or something. So several such things, because regarding the weight of the animals, so you cannot sell 1,500 kilograms for if you bought only 1,000 and so on.
Amazing. That's like, so like there's so many moving parts and so many aspects to the system. You know, as a systems thinker and design thinker, I'm you know, kind of playing it through in my head, and you know, there's like a lot of work to do, and because of that, it's like seriously valuable to be in place and to have such a system. So tell us a little bit about I think it's pretty clear like what the innovation here is, because it's kind of stringing all of this together, and it's first time I hear of somebody actually working on this. I've heard a lot of people talk about this, but I don't hear many people actually working on it. So you know, it's amazing to hear that you guys are going as far as actually thinking all this through. And you know, I had some of the questions around you know, how does blockchain actually help here in terms of highlighting and detecting some of these kind of potentially fraudulent activities, and you just answer that. So it's kind of like enhanced my knowledge and understanding as to why having kind of like timestamps and location stamps and so on lots of different things becomes valuable insight as to what happened and what might have happened as well. It's not necessarily 100% cure for everything, but it helps. And so tell us a little bit about then how the money side of things works with T-Food. You know, why are you doing an ICO? Why is this also a blockchain thing? Just a little bit more about that. And so why should people invest into T-Food ICO? What's in it for them? Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So so what to start? So many questions. I just think.
Sorry, I actually this is not fair. Let's start with the first one. Why are you doing an ICO, and why is this a blockchain product?
Okay. So you know, IBM is also focusing very much on the food to use blockchain for food traceability. They listed several reasons why blockchain is can be important on a global scale food safety. So I will just mention one thing which was a very crucial thing for us. So originally we built T-Food as a centralized application, but the distrust, and I'm not talking about just Vietnam. It's in all the emerging markets, and maybe in the developed countries as well. There is so much distrust in this food industry that we faced several times that even a third party like us, they don't believe the data we provide. There are a lot of times there are they mention that maybe we enable different parties to change their data because so we can be corrupted. But we, of course, we are not. We cannot be corrupted. But this is something which would be technically possible to corrupt a third party, and we were looking for a technical solution which enables this trusted system, which is by design cannot be modified. And then we found blockchain long before ICOs became so popular. So, but that time blockchain was not up to this task. And of course, many people don't know if blockchain is up to this task now, but this whole era is so rapidly changing that it's very hard to make bold statements. But this trust, the credibility was our main reason to turn to blockchain.
Okay,
so why do we do? Yeah.
So you're doing an ICO to
Yes.
fund the development of the project, I guess?
No, the development of the project is ready. So the system is working, and we decided that the whole tokenization part of the system will be ready until the ICO. It's I don't know 80% or 90% ready, but we still have something to do. But we want to make it ready. So we don't want to make it an ordinary ICO in this sense, because I think you also read many articles about the regulatory strictness, or how they will investigate ICOs or blockchain companies in 2018. So we decided that we don't want to make it like the usual ICOs, that they are ask for funding for a cause and for plans. So we have a ready company, we have a ready product which is working, which has more than 6,000 business customers. This means 6,000 agricultural companies and food companies. And we sell the tokens, which can be used within the system for several reasons. It can be used by supply chain companies. It can be used by customers or consumers, and we for informational purposes we share that we have a development roadmap. And we share what are our business plans. So we want to use the revenue of the token sale for international expansion. We have since this Vietnamese project has had a very large publicity in Vietnam and the neighboring countries. If you check our website, you will see several news broadcasts from the different televisions and or TV channels, and we have negotiations with the neighboring countries. I mean, Laos, Cambodia, and Malaysia. And also this week we announced that we we start our operation in South Africa. We established Laura Tea Food South Africa in cooperation with Laura Corporation in South Africa. So it's a very important step for us because regarding for a company which focuses on food safety in the emerging countries, so Africa is a place which it must be.
Okay, so tell us, like, specifically, like, let's say I'm just like a selfish guy and I'm like, I want, I want to invest into your ICO because I'm looking for, okay, I care about animal welfare and all this good stuff, but like, what's in it for me in terms of money side of things? So let's say I buy it's like £5,000 worth of tea food tokens. What can I expect to see in future as a potential investor?
Mm-hmm. So I can't endorse people to invest in the company, or we don't consider this token sale as an investment. Because we believe that those companies which consider their ICO or token sale as an investment for future profit, those companies will be investigated for unregistered securities offering. So what we offer that from one side, buying tea food tokens means that it's possible to use for several reasons within the tea food ecosystem, for consumers as well and supply chain companies as well. And the tokens will be also the consumers and supply chain companies will be able to buy and sell their tokens in a bid market, which we call a tea food market. It's as it works, it's similar, just like an ordinary exchange. Only it's a bid market, so there are only sell offers. But basically, if you really want if I really want to say how that we consider the tea food token sale, it's just like a limited edition gift card. So it's like you buy a big gift card you can use for different products or services of the company, and in specific cases, or in our cases, it's the gift card is transferable, so you can sell it for whatever price you want. And this tea food market will be a place where supply chain companies will come and buy tokens because they need tokens to buy transactions in the system. The supply chain companies will use for buying transactions. Supply chain companies will use to buy special services in the ecosystem, which we designed. One example, if you allow me, there are several information in a supply chain which is not transferred to the next step of the chain. For example, when there are calf farms, and when the cattle farms buy the calves, they usually immediately treat them with antibiotics. The basic problem is that they don't know if the calf was treated with antibiotics or what kind of antibiotics in the calf farm. So they treat it because they are afraid that the animal will die in their premises. So for example, such behavior leads to information. How would you say it? The lack of information leads to overuse of antibiotics. So, and if this cattle farmer knows or can buy for a very cheap price that which calves he bought were treated with antibiotics and what type of antibiotics, then he can spare a lot of money because he doesn't have to treat it again, and the consumer benefits because he will not eat a meat which is overdosed with antibiotics. So, for example, that value-added information will be paid by the tokens as well. So there will be a market, a bid market, where each participant can buy or sell tokens. Mostly supply chain companies we work for will be buyers on this market.
Okay, so this sounds like quite a true use of blockchain for a purpose that blockchain and the tokens was invented for, rather than kind of speculation on what the fiat value of it might be. The tokens are used for real world exchange of value inside an ecosystem that is supporting more trusted operations and distribution of food and transparency, where I believe that long-term people participating in food type ecosystem of distribution of food are likely to benefit from the goodness that is promoted by this blockchain immutability and transparency as to what is where, who is delivering what, and so on, in quite a real time, without there being tampering, doubt, and so on. So in terms of, just talk a little bit about growth, and then we'll start wrapping it up. How are you going to grow? Because one thing I'm realizing now is that, you guys are veterans in this industry, both in terms of food industry and IT industry. You haven't just kind of fallen off a tree yesterday and kind of went, let's do an ICO. This is very much a bunch of very professional, calm, well-informed people that comes across very, very clearly. And so tell us about how this is going to grow, because it's interesting to see, Hungarian company partnered with Vietnamese company, and then you're talking about expanding into other areas. How is this system going to play out globally?
Yes, it's an interesting thing, and let me start with my opinion or general opinion that it's an interesting part because as I see, ICOs are in very much about technology. So when people talk about ICOs, they talk about what is the technology behind, how is it disruptive, and when I talk about several other companies which made ICO and working also in the supply chain, I mean Wabi or Walton Chain or Ambrosus or Modum, these or VChain, and many times people ask which one has the better technology. So but I think, or according to my experience, that the success of such company, or the success of a project is not always about the technology, because, or at least in this field, or in the food industry, it's about how you are able to sell it, what are your pricing, what is your pricing, what is your business model, how are you able to implement it, because traceability systems on a national level or a regional level, there are many failed systems all around the world, because it's a hard thing to integrate thousands of companies, and we are there on more than 3,000 farms in Vietnam, and more than 2,500 retails. These are also not technological tasks. These are training tasks to train people hundreds of kilometers away, and organize the training, organize the distribution of the identification tools, because we provide the identification tools as well, to consult the governments to how to enforce such a system, because in most cases they don't know. As we talk with several other countries, we see that there is huge demand, there is extreme demand for improving the food safety and mitigating the food frauds, but they really don't know how to start, how to organize it, how to discuss with the companies, how to discuss with the NGOs, and how to communicate with the people, and that's what I talk about. This is not the technical part, but this is crucial to be successful for such a system. And I think in a token sale, which is not a technical event, it's a business related event. This is what is important, I think. So regarding growth, so we have a very detailed implementation approach, or implementation methodology. It's of course it's designed according to our experiences and according to the suggestions of these professional veterinary team members. It's focusing on emerging countries, so we are focused on them, and this methodology covers all parts: how to communicate, how to organize the training, how to organize the logistics, how to discuss. Just one example: when my colleague was on training in an unknown village during the midnight, and he had to go into a slaughterhouse when those dangerously looking guys were standing with big knives, and he had to train them how to change their well-polished processes. That's something you have to be aware how you can convince them, because in the food supply chain there are very low margin companies in fresh food, and that's why they have very polished process, mostly manual, but polished processes. So you have to be aware about these things, how to handle these things, and that is the most important thing we have. We have also a very good IT company with traditional IT guys as well, and blockchain developers as well. One of them is a developer at the Ethereum Foundation, and I think putting these together and our 21 years business experience, I think that we are able to provide the growth it requires.
So one more question, actually. Are you, and keep meaning to ask this and forgetting it, and now it's come back again. So are you actually building this on Ethereum or some other blockchain platform?
Yeah, there are two parts of this. One is the tokenization. Tokenization, where you know, the financial part, financial transaction part is moving. So where the supply chain companies can pay for the transactions, they can pay each other to get these value-added informations. And also this is the part, and I want to mention it, where we reward consumers as well, because consumers, when they use our mobile app in the retail to read QR codes and learn if that meat is fresh or not, or that vegetable is fresh or not, we reward them with tokens because of the conscious consumer behavior. And so this will be done in Ethereum by design. The other part of the traceability transactions, this part will be ready within 6 months. So, but this is not part of the ICO, so that the tokenization part is ready, or it will be ready until February 22nd, when the ICO starts. But the traceability transactions, it's we are still in negotiation with more platforms, which I cannot mention now, but we will announce it as soon as we have the final decision, because you know, because currently we make 400,000 transactions each day, and we are only present in a small part of the world, so it has to be scalable.
Yeah, because I can see this is one of those use cases which can, as soon as you start growing bigger and bigger, even at the beginning now, you already have lots and lots of transactions, but I can see this system and ending up having actions a day easily, and maybe even an hour and so on. And exactly. You need super fast blockchain backend to handle that, store that, and then be able to retrieve that data. And so yeah, this, oh my god, I just keep always thinking that I've come across the most complicated system. You know, like every time I speak to an ICO person or a business or blockchain business, I thought I'd come across the most complicated. Now I think this is the most complicated. But at the same time, like, you guys are actually, you know, people who've been in the IT industry, and you know, it's not like, often the time I speak to people and they're like, you know, I'm starting a blockchain business, and I go like, you know, do you know what is? And they'll go like, I don't know. And it's like, how are you going to start a blockchain business if you don't have basic idea of like technology, but just at least basic idea? And you guys are like fully equipped with fully understanding what it means to have 400,000 transactions a day, which isn't actually that much, but it's loads more than 2. Yeah, and the throughput that's required in systems and uptime and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm super impressed by this, and you know, well done. Thank you very much for presenting this and explaining everything. Whoa, I'm really happy, you know, that you guys are working on this, and that I can see how it's going to help. Like, one other thing that I realized recently is I've always kind of strayed away from operation side of things, even though I've been designing processes and so on. But that kind of like operational, what's the word, like optimization, let's say, is something that I've always kind of strayed away from. But now I find myself I find myself looking around and observing things, and just kind of like everything just seems so old school in terms of the way we handle operations of everything. There's so many extra steps that people do. There's like things take so much longer to do. And I mean, just recently I went to like London Aquarium, and it was like I booked a ticket on some sort of God knows what travel portal, and then they requested me to print this ticket. Okay, it's like why are we still printing things? But then when we got to London Aquarium, then they said, oh, you need to print this because it's not from us, it's from the travel agency. So I had to run over to the travel agency, which was luckily around the corner. They printed it off for me, and then and it had like a QR code on it, right?
Yeah.
And so I then went back to London Aquarium, gave them this piece of paper, and then they printed off their tickets and said to me, other entrance where it's the actual entrance for the tickets. And I thought, like, with blockchain, this would have just been ding, ding, done, right?
And it's a good thing because it's a good thing because that's how startups are born. Yeah, in your own experience, you don't understand why it doesn't work as it should. Maybe in 1 year you will also create an ICO for a startup.
Exactly, and I thought we'd run out of problems for a little while, but now like no, everything has to get redesigned again. So yeah. All right, thank you so much, Márton, and wishing you all the best with your both ICO and Tea Food. Anything from any one of us at Integral, myself, anything, shout, let us know. When you come to London, please, say hello. We'll grab a coffee,
okay,
and we'll make sure that it's ethically sourced coffee.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.